In a bold and defiant move, Iran-backed Houthi rebels unleashed a wave of attacks on Israel and U.S. military forces, marking a dramatic escalation in the conflict. The group brazenly announced a missile strike on Ben Gurion Airport, Israel's busiest civilian and military hub, using two of their most advanced weapons: the Zulfikar ballistic missile, known for its deadly precision, and the hypersonic Palestine II missile, capable of evading defenses at speeds beyond Mach 5. While the Houthis declared victory, Israeli authorities have remained silent on damage reports, suggesting the missiles were intercepted by Israel's multi-layered air defense systems, but the mere attempt on such a high-profile target has sent shockwaves through the region.
In support of the oppressed Palestinian people and in solidarity with its brave and noble resistance, the missile forces targeted Ben Gurion Airport in the occupied city of Jaffa with two ballistic missiles, one Zulfikar and the other a hypersonic Palestine II missile. By the grace of Allah, the operation successfully achieved its objective.
At the same time, the Houthis turned their sights on the U.S. Navy, targeting the USS Harry S. Truman, CVN-75, and its warships in the Red Sea. This marked the second attack on the Truman in just 24 hours, escalating fears of a wider confrontation. The Houthis unleashed a full-scale assault, deploying ballistic missiles, anti-ship cruise missiles, and swarms of KS-04 explosive drones, a coordinated blitz aimed at overwhelming U.S. defenses. The group claimed it also repelled a U.S. air assault on Yemen, though no independent verification supports this claim. According to U.S. officials, the missiles aimed at the Truman fell into the sea, likely due to the ship's highly sophisticated Aegis defense system. But the Houthis framed the attack as a direct response to what they call American aggression and Israeli atrocities in Gaza. This relentless wave of attacks is part of a broader Houthi campaign to choke off Israeli-linked navigation and pressure the U.S., which has been leading international efforts to secure the Red Sea from the rebels since 2023. As these high-stakes attacks played out, Hamas released a chilling hostage video featuring two Israelis identified only as prisoner number 21 and prisoner number 22. Their message? A scathing condemnation of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his government's handling of the war.
No, this is not a story whose goal is psychological warfare. Rather, it is us who asked and begged to make our voice heard. So I will go ahead, hear it. Until the last deal, until January 19th, when the crossings were closed for the duration of the war, the situation was very difficult. There was almost no food, no safe place to be, and the conditions were difficult to live in.
The hostages painted a harrowing picture of their captivity: food shortages, relentless uncertainty, and the constant fear of death. "We didn't know if we would live or die," one hostage said, revealing the agonizing reality behind enemy lines.
And the worst part was that we didn't know whether we would live or die. When the deal began and the crossings opened for minimal aid and food, Hamas soldiers began to take care of us for what we needed and what we asked for. And they prepared us not only for us to live, but also for when we had better access.
For a brief moment, hope flickered when a temporary aid deal allowed food and medical supplies into Gaza. "We really felt the light was coming. We started to breathe," they recalled. But that hope was shattered on March 18th, when an Israeli airstrike on Gaza nearly killed them.
We really felt that the light was coming. We saw the light. We started to breathe. We believed that all this was going to end. And it was then, when the end was near, that we received the hardest blow of all. On March 18th, the Israeli government decided to launch an airstrike on the Gaza Strip, an attack that almost brought about our end.
In an emotional plea, the hostages called on the Israeli public and freed prisoners like Ohad to speak out. Enough of this government silence, one declared. Another choked back tears, saying, "Every day here is hard for me, without my son and without my wife."
Enough of this government silence. Enough. Enough. End it and say, let the rich speak. Stop silencing them. Let them speak. Let the truth come out, that everyone who leaves here from this place will open their mouths. Why is everyone keeping their mouths shut? Why? Open your mouths. Speak, Ohad. Speak. You were here with us. You sat with me and him. You spoke for us. You explained to everyone what we were going through.
In a swift and punishing response, U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, ramped up its military campaign against the Houthis, launching a barrage of precision strikes across Yemen. On March 23rd, CENTCOM released stunning visuals on X, an F/A-18E Super Hornet roaring off the deck of the USS Truman, followed by a blinding nighttime explosion, the likely obliteration of a key Houthi target. The intensified U.S. assaults targeting weapons storage sites, missile launch pads, and air defense systems, particularly in Sana'a and Yemen's western coast, are reported to have resulted in significant casualties. The Houthi-controlled health ministry reported at least 53 fatalities and almost 100 injuries from these strikes.
Sana'a, capital of Yemen. This is what CENTCOM does best. Bombing civilian buildings in a residential neighborhood in Sana'a, Yemen. This is what happened last night. They bomb at night because they are cowards, of course. 5 people were dead, 15 injured, but these are initial numbers. Could be much, much worse.
Now, in its 6th consecutive day, the U.S. offensive has rattled the Houthis, but failed to completely break them. Their ability to strike at the heart of Israel and target a U.S. aircraft carrier proves their adaptability and growing boldness. The U.S. counteroffensive is leaning on cutting-edge firepower with F/A-18E and F/A-18F Super Hornets deploying precision-guided munitions to cripple the rebels' war machine. But with each strike, the question remains, how far will this conflict spiral before an all-out war erupts?